Welcome to Trust Talks with BBB Serving CT. I'm Kristen Johnson. In business, trust talks, and Better Business Bureau's mission is to enhance marketplace trust. In each episode of our program, we're going to tackle the most talked about industries. We hope to give you a better understanding of what to expect, what to look for, and what to look out for, so you can spend your money wisely and avoid being scammed. This week, our topic is pools. Investing in a swimming pool is a big decision. Many families save up for years before they're able to afford one. Like any industry, there are many good businesses, but there are also some bad actors. Hopefully, by the end of this episode, you'll know how to tell the difference so that you don't end up high and dry. Last year, Better Business Bureau received 195 million inquiries about different types of businesses. 1 million of those inquiries were about pool contractors. Out of the more than 6,000 types of businesses for which BBB collects inquiries, pool contractors ranked 30th. Kelly Johnson is the Vice President of Hunter's Pool Center in Wallingford, a longtime accredited business. She's here to give us some tips. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's dive in. First of all, tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, so we are a 3-generation family-owned and operated business in Wallingford that focuses on bringing families fun all year long. So in the summertime, we sell, install, and service above-ground pools, in-ground pools. We have a large retail store that houses everything that you need to, maintain the pool, chemicals, toys, games. We also sell and service Saratoga spas, and in the off season, we sell and service Ski-Doo snowmobiles and Can-Am ATVs, and provide all the gear and accessories and equipment that goes along with those as well.
What do you love most about the pool business?
So, because we bring families fun all year long, it's really it's fun. When the kids are out of school and they come in the store and they're all excited to buy their new float for the season, or, we have a lot of teachers that spend the year working really hard and they're really excited to get their pools up and running and spend the summer in the sun kind of just decompressing. Our recreational vehicle customers are really diehards with their sport and their hobby, and they love when we get them outfitted with a new machine, or we have a new product or new gear that brings them enjoyment and maybe provides a little extra spice to their rides.
I'm sure the industry has changed a lot since your grandparents started in this business 60 years ago.
Yeah, 1963.
So tell me about some of those changes.
Obviously there's a ton of manufacturing changes and technology changes and changes in products and all of that stuff, but I think the biggest change that we see is really in family dynamics and family lifestyles. Families nowadays are just so busy, but they still need that time to just kind of relax and decompress and have fun. So we really try to focus on bringing products into the store that can save them time, provide convenience, so that they can spend the most time focusing on having fun and not, maintaining their pools. So less play, more fun is kind of our motto, and I think people appreciate when we can provide them with that in their backyard.
What are the latest trends? If I was to go out and shop for a pool, what trends would I be seeing right now?
Yeah, in-ground pools, we're seeing a lot of requests for customization. Not a lot of people like back in the 80s want that cookie cutter typical in-ground pool. So we see a lot of requests for sun ledges, benches. A lot of people like the liners that don't have a border, so it's a very sophisticated, streamlined look to the pool. Automation is huge, where you can control your pool, every feature of your pool, from an app on your phone from wherever you are. So if you're at dinner and you say, oh, let's go for a nighttime dip, and you want to turn your pool heater on from your restaurant table, you can do that, and the pool's a little warmer when you get home. Robotic vacuums are huge. They save people a lot of time. And for our above ground pools, it's kind of the same, where people don't really want something that is your typical above ground pool. So our most popular pools are really dark gray, and it's kind of really trendy and something that you don't really see in the above ground pool industry.
I'm surprised with the climate that we have in Connecticut that there are so many people with pools in their backyards.
A lot of people, yeah. And every time I think we can't possibly install more pools, we have we have an enormous demand for them still. So yeah, I think that's going back to, providing people as much convenience and time savings so they can focus those 4 months of the year on having as much fun as possible. It's really important.
May to September.
Yeah, I would say, we really start ramping up the beginning of May. And, if you have a heater on the pool, you can certainly keep it open through, some people don't close till Halloween. They like to have Halloween pool parties or whatever. But yeah.
If someone wants to put in an in-ground pool, when should they start? What time of year should they start looking? Should they be thinking about that in the wintertime?
Yeah, and in this economy, this market, absolutely. We are now installing pools that were booked just about a year ago. So we are just about running a year out for installs.
I hear a long wait for a pool.
Yeah, that's for in-grounds. Above grounds, definitely. We can still get, end of July, early August as of right now. So you can still get an above ground pool this summer. But for the larger projects, it definitely is a little bit more of a time wait. Installation
begins when the ground thaws?
Yeah, we start as early as we possibly can. I think we started the middle of March this year, around March 15th. And we'll go right through till Mother Nature tells us we can't anymore. So.
Well, speaking of demand, there were 300,000 more inquiries about pool companies to Better Business Bureau, both in 2020 and 2021 than there were in 2019 before the pandemic.
I'm not surprised.
So did that surge in interest change your business model?
Yeah, we had to really adapt quickly and kind of think outside the box, because not only did demand increase exponentially, but supplies are, the supply chain is extremely stressed. And then also we had employee shortages where even now it's really hard to get employees to come work. So we now have to plan, like I said, every project is planned out way ahead of time. Buying inventory for the store is done a year out, and just really planning way ahead for every single project, above ground and in ground, is crucial to make sure we don't miss anything. So
would you say the pandemic had a negative or a positive impact on the pool industry?
It's kind of a double-edged sword. I'm very grateful for the demand and having the business, because a lot of companies did not experience that. So in that aspect, I'm extremely grateful, and we're riding that wave as best as we can. However, the supply chains have been difficult to deal with, but we're opening up more vendor lines, more distribution lines, and kind of just adapting the best that we can to supply everybody with what they need.
So what question would you say you get asked the most by prospective customers?
At this time of the year, it's definitely, when are you going to be here? When is my pool getting installed? Everybody kind of wants that instant gratification and that instant immediate install. So we try to set very clear expectations, especially at this time of the year, for bookings and when things are scheduled. And we do our best. We work 6 days a week. The install crews do, just staying on task, staying on schedule, and getting everybody installed so that we can meet those expectations.
I'm wondering, now that so many people have put pools in the last 2 years, is that having a domino effect on the supplies that pool owners need as well? Is there a shortage of chlorine or different products that they would need to?
Yes and no. So the shortage of chlorine that a lot of people are hearing about, it's only certain kinds of chlorine, and it was due actually to a plant fire. It wasn't really due to like COVID or anything like that. So it was just kind of like something that we really didn't need to happen on top of all the other things kind of just happened. So
I see. Yeah. So what's the one thing you wish customers or prospective customers knew before they decide to sign on the dotted line, perhaps?
Yeah, I would say we are worth the wait. We really pride ourselves on customer service and providing really high quality products and expert installation services. And I hear so many times where somebody comes in and they're like, oh, well, you were 2 or 3 months out. We really wanted you to install the pool, but we didn't want to wait wait, but it didn't go great, and now we need you to come fix it. So really putting value in companies that are accredited and reputable and can stand behind their projects and products are really important.
Well, speaking of getting scammed, I mean,
Yes.
Unfortunately, we have heard of scams increasing because of this demand. Scammers, they tend to come out of the woodwork when there's a high demand for something. What tips do you have for people pool shopping so they don't get scammed?
Yeah, unfortunately, because of this economy and this market, there are fly-by-night companies that are popping up everywhere just trying to capitalize on the boom in this industry. And it's just really important for people to do their due diligence, find somebody reputable, find somebody accredited with the Better Business Bureau, make sure that they have the ability to stand behind their products. That's just, it's critical. And be patient, because companies right now that do have those that accreditation and that reputation are going to have a waiting time. So, waiting a couple months for your install in the grand scheme of things to get a pool that's going to last you a lifetime and last twice as long as somebody else's is really not a long time to wait in the long run.
That's right. And speaking of the long run, how long have you been accredited now, Hunter's Pool Center?
I think it's 38 years.
38 years. So tell me a little bit about what your business feels like they get out of being accredited with Better Business Bureau.
We're very proud to have never had a consumer complaint with the Better Business Bureau, and that's definitely something that we brag about a little bit to our potential clients, and we invite them to go on to the Better Business Bureau's website, look up us as well as other competitors that they might be considering and compare our reputations. And I think our A+ rating kind of just speaks for itself with us being a trustworthy company to do business with.
What to look out for and what to look for, which is what we really want to pass along to people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, there's a very high interest. You know better than anyone.
Yeah.
Such a high interest. Have you, these last 2 years, can you compare it to anything in your career? Have you ever seen it like this?
No, I have not. I mean, I've worked for my family since I was 12 and I could punch buttons on a cash register. So it's never been as crazy as this. And, it's been great. It's been fun.
Yeah. Kelly, thank you so much for sharing your expertise.
You're
and
so
your
welcome.
Experience. Kelly
Thanks
Johnson
for having me.
with Hunter's Pool Center in Wallingford. I know this will be very valuable to our audience, so we appreciate it.
Thank you.
At BBB.org, you can look up accredited pool contractors in your area, read reviews, and look at patterns of complaints. When hiring any contractor, it's always important to check that they have the proper licensing. After the break, the Department of Consumer Protection will be here to explain some recent changes to the licensing laws for pool contractors. Find out what questions you should be asking when we come back.
You got ripped off? Didn't get what you expected? The Better Business Bureau can help you avoid these uncomfortable situations. Look for the BBB seal. It's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at BBB.org.
Welcome back. As you're doing your research, you want to make sure that the contractor you're considering has the proper licensing. If they don't and they skirt on this regulation, that's a red flag that they'll cut corners in other ways that may cost you more in the long run. In 2017, the licensing requirements for pool contractors in the state of Connecticut changed. Caitlin Kressel from the Department of Consumer Protection is here to tell us what questions you should be asking these pool contractors before you hire them. Caitlin, thanks so much for being with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So what is the difference between the licensing requirements for an above ground pool versus an in-ground pool?
Sure. So for an above ground pool, your contractor should have a home improvement contractor's license. And you should also be asking them, if installing swimming pools is the kind of work that they do, because home improvement contractors do all kinds of things. They may install roofs, they may do other home improvement projects around your house. So you need to make sure not only that they have that registration, but that is actually the kind of work that they do. If they're installing a below ground pool, there is a special swimming pool builder's license for anyone installing a below ground pool or spa.
So I've heard of, there's SPB, SP1, and SP2. Those are different licenses. What are the differences between those?
They are. So for a swimming pool builder license, that would be someone that is going to be installing a below ground pool or spa. SB1 is for maintenance. So they would be a person who, they run a business, and that business's sole purpose is to maintain and repair swimming pools. SB2 would be employees of that business. So people who are licensed to do that work, but they have to be an employee of an SB1.
Okay, so what should pool buyers be asking contractors about their licensing then?
We highly encourage consumers to request verification of the license. If that's something that they're not willing to provide, that's a red flag. And we also recommend that consumers verify that independently by checking elicense.ct.gov to make sure that they have the appropriate credential.
So if licensing isn't required for your pool contractor, if it's like an above ground pool, if they use subcontractors, say for plumbing work or electrical work, they should still be evaluating the contractor's licensing status, correct?
Yes, for any work that you're doing around your home, whether it's a pool or any other kind of work, you should verify that they are properly credentialed. And just to be clear, a license is required for an above ground pool. They do need that home improvement contractor registration. If it's below ground, they need the swimming pool builder registration. And those with the SB1 and SB2, they are credentialed and licensed to do any electrical and plumbing work associated with a swimming pool. Of course, if they're using subcontractors, make sure that they're credentialed properly as well.
And tell me again, where did you say they can check out that licensing themselves?
Consumers can verify a license at elicense.ct.gov.
Okay, that's a state website.
Yep,
that keeps track of everyone's licensing then.
Yes.
Okay, anything else that prospective pool buyers should know?
We always encourage consumers, whether they're installing a pool or doing some other kind of work around their home, it is required by law to have a contract. So make sure that you're entering into a contract before any work begins. That contract should include things like your contractor's license and registration numbers, their contact information, address, the scope of work that's to be completed, the cost of that work, dates at which you expect it to be completed, and that contract can be amended throughout the process. You know, home construction projects, sometimes timelines change, but that should be agreed to by both the consumer and the contractor. And again, that contract is required by law, and it's just a way to protect yourself if anything goes wrong.
Now, Better Business Bureau does review the licensing of its accredited businesses once a year, but we always say it's a good idea to check with the licensing agency like DCP just to make sure that the contractor you're considering is up to date. Thanks to Caitlin Krassel with the Department of Consumer Protection for this very valuable information, and hopefully it will help people down the line as they are looking to put in pools. And hiring someone that has the proper licensing, that's the most important.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Better Business Bureau also recommends you talk to friends or family who've recently had a pool installed. Then find out if other customers had the same experience by searching reviews. Check the number of years the company has been in business. Choose a pool contractor that has been in business for at least a few years with a solid reputation and a list of local references. Compare costs. Talk to at least 3 different pool contractors and get a quote for a similar pool every time. Ask pool contractors to provide quotes in writing, including a breakdown of what the price includes. If a contractor won't supply their bid in writing, find someone who will. Understand the payment schedule. Most pool companies ask you to pay for your pool in payment installments. You should never pay a large percentage of the total up front. Check background and criminal history. Pool contractors, their employees, and subcontractors are expected to spend a lot of time on your property. That gives them access to your home and your family. Find out if the contractor you're considering has a system for criminal history and background checks. Scammers are eager to take advantage of the increased demand and delays due to supply chain shortages. Avoid scams by looking out for the following. Beware of prices that seem too good to be true. Scammers will often lure people with prices they don't want to pass up, only to find out that wasn't a pool to be had. Confirm the company's physical address. Some scammers use a fake address or not list an address at all. If it's not possible to confirm the company's physical address, it could be a scam. Pay with a credit card or another secure payment method. Using a credit card or another form of secure payment will allow the ability to dispute charges. Understand every aspect of the transaction to be sure you're getting the full value for your dollars. If a pool contractor is too busy to call you back within a reasonable amount of time, that could signal the potential for communication problems later on. Look for a pool contractor that understands your goals and budget. At BBB.org, you can look up accredited pool contractors in your area, read reviews, and look for patterns of complaints. And if you've had a good experience with a local company, you can share that there as well. You can't trade in a swimming pool if you decide you aren't happy with what you received. It's important to do your research. That does it for Trust Talks. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.